Communication is the verbal and nonverbal interaction between two, or sometimes more than two, interdependent people. While this definition might sound stilted and stiff, our daily interaction with other people is dynamic, sometimes confusing, and ever-changing. No relationship stays the same. You must continually be examining your interpersonal relationships and the communication that takes place within those relationships. Welcome to Interpersonal Communication. My name is Gary Iman, and these videos are designed to make you think about your past choices you have made in your relationships. None of us can change the past, but my goal is to give you information to make better informed choices in the future. These videos will examine the topic of interpersonal communication by dividing the topic into three parts. Part 1, which will be covered in the first 4 videos, discusses preliminaries to interpersonal communication. This will give us a solid foundation of what constitutes communication. Part 2, the next 4 videos, discusses interpersonal messages. Here we will explore different kinds of messages: verbal, nonverbal, emotional, and conversational. Part 3, the last 4 videos, discusses interpersonal relationships. This section will challenge you to examine your relationships and apply communication principles to them. Every instructor probably will approach teaching a course like this from a little different perspective. Let me share mine. I believe interpersonal communication is a theory or content course and a personal growth or skills-based course. What I mean is that I want you to learn lots of new information, but I also want you to be a different person at the end of the semester in how you communicate with the people in your life that you talk with every day. Knowledge should be transformative. One of the places to start when thinking about interpersonal communication is to ask, why study interpersonal communication? I might be able to suggest some answers to this question, but you ought to stop and ask yourself this question. Ask yourself what you expect to get out of this study. At the end of this video, why don't you write down some personal goals that you have concerning your relationships? Is everything going just fine? Or are there some areas where you know you need to improve? Here is how I would personally answer this why question. For all of us, when we are young, we are extremely self-centered. Just think about babies and toddlers. The process of growing as a young person and a teenager is, or at least should be, a journey towards being less self-absorbed and more outward and other-focused. But it's easy to continue to focus on ourselves, focus on being right at all costs, and focus on getting our ways. At some point, we need to push pause and think about how we're doing in our relationships and our interpersonal communication. Hopefully, by viewing these videos, it will help you to do just that. Pause and think. Studying interpersonal communication should challenge you to think about how you are communicating with the individuals around you. Studying this subject helps us to examine ourselves in the light of solid communication theory and self-reflection. Interpersonal communication, as I mentioned, involves choices. We might think about times in the past where we made an interpersonal communication choice. This might be referred to as a choice point. A choice point is a time where you could have said something one way or you could have reacted to a situation in a certain way, but you made a choice and it may not have turned out so well. The more we can learn and know about the ins and outs of interpersonal communication, the better those choice points will turn out. In each video, I will refer to a test question that will be on the final exam. Well, here is your first final exam question. In Chapter 1, it talks about the elements of interpersonal communication. Be able to name them. Now here's the answer. Choice, receiver, encoding, decoding, messages, channel, noise, and context. Well, I hope you get a lot out of this first chapter as you explore and learn. I want the very best for you this semester as we learn new concepts about interpersonal communication that will hopefully make a real difference in your life. See you in the next video.